Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer, and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge. Last week was an interesting run as I took on Pokemon Yellow with only a single Doduo, and there was a surprisingly difficult battle in there. Today though, we head to Pokemon Emerald and answer the question of whether or not I can beat it with a dual team of Machop and Makuhita. So, Machop is a lot better. Makuhita actually has a lot worse stats. 305 base stat total for Machop, 237 for Makuhita. Neither of them have good speed or special stats. Makuhita has better health, Machop has better attack and defense. They're both mono fighting types, so we are weak to flying and psychic, and we resist rock, bug and dark. Move wise, we get a lot of normal and fighting moves via level up, which doesn't do a lot for our variety. Makuhita does get knockoff, which isn't really useful, given that Dark type was special in this gen, and a special attack of 20 means we're not going to get much use out of it. Via TM, we get some strange special attacks. Makuhita gets Surf, Machop gets Flamethrower. That latter move may be somewhat viable for coverage. There's the old favourites in there, like Dig, Earthquake, Return, Brick Break, Rock Tomb, which both of them can learn. Strength and Facade too. There are move tutors, but the only move I'd be bothered about would be Rock Slide, which isn't until Battle Frontier, so that doesn't do us a whole lot of good. Predictions. I think we'll be fine until the back end of the game. Winona might cause some problems. Tate and Liza definitely will cause problems. I can see that's happening for sure. Phoebe and Drake are liable to be awkward, but I think we should be able to beat Wallace if we get past them. The rules. In combat, I can only use Machop and Makuhita. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs, but unable to fight. Only held items and Pokeballs in battle, but I can use other items outside of battle. Last of all, no glitches or exploits. The idea for this challenge was sent in by Javian Montserrat. If you have any ideas for future challenges, drop them in the comment section down below, or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. If you do enjoy what you see, like, subscribe and ring the bell. Since we can get Makuhita a lot earlier in the game than we can Machop, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Trico with Machop. I think that when the rival has Torchic, it sometimes gets flying moves, which will make it the hardest for us to fight. Although it is pretty spurious, I will say that. I saved Professor Birch from being savaged by a rodent, and then, as a reward, he gives us our mighty Machop, who I nickname Pork, for Pork Chop, because why not? Pork has the Guts ability, so we're going to hit harder with a status condition. We also have the mild nature, which means more special attack and less defense. Probably not ideal, but not necessarily debilitating. I did joke about teaching him Flamethrower earlier, after all. Or maybe I'm not joking. Anyway, I go grind out some EVs, boosting our attack and our speed. Pork might have to be the one who carries many of the fights, due to being so much better than Makuhita. Considering the latter is a gym leader's ace, I'm always surprised about that. After a bit of fighting, I go challenge May, and it's not particularly bad. Our low kicks don't do a lot of damage, but I go for a focus energy to try and boost our chances of a crit. That's the plan anyway, since the only one who gets the crit is Torchic, but we shrug that off and we soon kick it down in a matter of turns. I'm not worried about the Rock Gym, strangely. Now on that subject, we have the fight with Roxanne soon after, with a little travelling out of the way. This should be pretty easy. I'm feeling super confident. Famous last words, anyone? We get the fight started, and I go for a focus energy on the first Geodude just to set me up. That could be useful. We get hit with Tackle and then a Rock Tomb after it survives low kick, dropping our speed, so as she heals it, I go for the Karate Chop to down it. With the second Geodude, a crit Karate Chop is enough to take it out before we face Nose Pass. It survives our Karate Chop after using Block, it eats the berry and then tackles us, but a second Karate Chop drops it hard to give us the first badge. Before I can go into the next bit of the game, there is the May fight as we leave Rustboro City. I'm not too concerned. Since she has Torchic in this fight, it isn't one where she randomly whips out a Torkoal that then never gets seen again. We one-hit crit Lotad with Karate Chop and learn Foresight in the attempt, before Torchic also gets chopped down by Pork. Hiya! Next major incident is in the Granite Cave, where I go hunting for my Makuhita so that I can complete the team. I'm a bit worried about catching one, since Pork has gotten stronger to the point that we might genuinely one-hit it if we try to attack. Maybe this is where I should have kept Seismic Toss. Ah dear. I fight through 2 of them, then on the 3rd one I hook a Pokeball at it and catch it first time, nicknaming him Belly. Belly, unfortunately, has the quiet nature, which is more special attack and less speed, which is probably about as bad as it gets, unfortunately, for this Pokemon. I do some trading in the cave and then decide I'm going to go and face Brawly, with Pork and Belly in tow. This should be a decent enough matchup, as we share some types and indeed we share some Pokemon. Indeed, in Ruby and Sapphire, this is his team. We'll have to see how this goes. It begins with Belly versus Machop, and we hit a fake out right at the start and do about a quarter of its health before we begin to trade blows with arm thrusts and vital throws, countering karate chops and low kicks. We do get Machop within knockout range with an arm thrust, and if that arm thrust had hit just one more time, we would have won. But instead, Brawly heals it. A mistimed focus energy leaves us weak after a low kick, and it's an inauspicious start for Belly on my team as he goes down. I bring in Pork, who duly downs the Machop. We do get hit with a Seismic Toss, but it is a small matter to end it quickly after we focus energy first turn. Meditite is annoying as it goes to bulk up, but then just keeps trying to use Focus Punch, and as long as we keep Karate Chopping, it's no problem. It takes a few turns, but he heals it to put us on the attacking trail again, before we finally get the crit we need. Makuhita is last, and Pork promptly low kicks it straight through the nearest wall to one-hit it without even the need for a crit. That was a mirror match. Fight ended the way it started, a Machop wrecking a Makuhita. The next major fight is the May one underneath Cycling Road, and I approach it with an intent to win. Both my Pokemon are starting to power up, and while I could do with some more variety in our moves, we're looking good so far. Pork begins the fight, and we get hit with 2 wing attacks from Wingull while we focus energy. Our Karate Chop crits though and downs it, which is handy. Combusken is next and goes for a focus energy of its own while surviving Karate Chop. It hits Peck to weaken us further before we finish it with a second Karate Chop. Lombre is third, it survives Karate Chop on a sliver before hitting us with Nature Power Come Swift, which drops us into red health, but we take it down with the next hit. Whew! I enter Morville City, where I go to the bike shop and take the Acro bike. I know that if I didn't tell you which one I took, you'd all probably ask. Actually, ask away anyway, comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Watson is next, and this has potential to be interesting, I know that much. So here's why I'm curious about how this fight might turn out. He likes to wield status afflictions, particularly paralysis, and I have the guts ability on both my Pokemon, so our attack is going to go up if he does that. I focus energy with Pork and get hit by 2 sparks from Voltorb, neither of which paralyse. Our Karate Chop doesn't crit the first time, prompting a heal as it gets dropped into red health, but the second one takes it out. Electrike also goes down to our Karate Chop after howling. Magneton is faster and paralyses us. Unfortunately, the paralysis kicks in on the same turn and we get blasted with Shockwave before we do one-hit it with Karate Chop. Manectric is last and we try to attack, but Pork gets downed with Shockwave. Belly comes in and hits Fake Out before it starts howling. We focus energy and also land a knockoff to get rid of the Citrus Berry. Then, after we're paralysed, I go for a Guts boosted arm thrust. We hit 4 times, one of them being a crit, and it is enough to wipe Manectric out completely and give us the 3rd badge. We don't really have another major fight until the Mount Chimney Maxi fight, and I work my way there collecting TMs and the like. I'm just building movesets to get by at the moment. I'll work it out later, because since these two will learn most of the same TMs, I need to think about who gets what. Case in point, Bulk Up. Both learn it, both would benefit from it, but I need to work out whom. Anyhow, Maxi fight. Belly begins versus my Chiena, and I'm not happy about being intimidated. We land fake out but get hit with a crit bite and then sand attack. Not good. We do manage to beat it down with our arm thrust attacks, but the back and forth takes a toll on Belly, not least when we have to worry about being flinched. Zubat is tougher. We hit hard with strength, but it knows wing attack. Maxi and Archie's Zubat lines might not be good poison types, but wing attack is about what they do best. I know this from the last 2 Hoenn challenges I did. Belly goes down and Pork has to come in and face Zubat, which given we only know offensive fighting moves isn't really good, as it doesn't take much damage from Karate Chop. When he heals Zubat the first time, I take the chance to use Focus Energy, and we do get a few crits off the move. But the second heal, when it comes from him, isn't helpful. We do take it down eventually, but I am so glad that Zubat missed Supersonic twice. Camerupt, at the very least, is a 2-hit with Karate Chop, so that is that at least. Fire Trainer Flannery is next, and being burned is something I'd normally worry about. But I'm not so concerned here if I'm honest, because that'd be like the worst thing she could do to herself. I get a bit lost in the gym, because how many times have I done this in the last year and a half? But eventually, it's time to face down the angry, confused Ginger herself. This ends badly due to a mistake on my part. Belly starts and does manage to take down the Numel with arm thrust. We even get her to waste a hyper potion. A focus energy on our part makes us more likely to crit in theory, but we don't get the luck I'd like. We get hit with takedown, and the worst thing Numel does is use Sunny Day. We also take Slugma down, but Belly gets blasted with overheat and left on 2 HP, which does not make it look good. We have to beat it down over and over, but the victory is ours eventually. Camerupt outspeeds and downs Belly with Tackle. I screw up with Pork, as I mean to go for Focus Energy, but click Foresight instead, and as a result, we get hit with Attract. I do get a Focus Energy up and a Karate Chop off, but it downs us with 2 overheats. Nuts. I make another try a few levels higher, and I have a plan now. I have an upgraded moveset. It's risky, but I think I can pull this off. Anyway, thanks to our new moveset, I have Belly Drum on Belly, and I immediately go for it versus Numel, who goes for Sunny Day. I used an Orange Berry too to recover some health. Anyway, with our attack maxed, we one-hit Numel, Slugma, and Camerupt, plus we do big damage on Torkoal. However, with the sun still up, Torkoal very quickly wipes us out with overheat. Pork comes in and we can't finish Torkoal with Karate Chop, and she uses Attract before going for the heal. As a result, we get immobilised by Love a bunch of times, and Torkoal can wipe us out at leisure. I should have gone for Return, not Karate Chop. Let's try that again with the benefit of hindsight. Okay, so that attempt doesn't actually go any better. It turns out we're likely running a speed tie with Camerupt, and this time it moves first on Belly and wipes us out with overheat. As a result, Pork gets hit with Attract from Camerupt and gets immobilised by Love for like 5 turns in a row, meaning we get swamped by the slow death from a series of tackles. All while Pork contemplates the best way to insert his Pork Sword into the volcanic camel. Oh dear. Torkoal comes in, tanks our return, and then ends us with overheat. With Belly at level 40 and Pork at level 41, I decide to try again for the 4th time. We surely should outspeed now. Everything crossed then. This time though, my strategy works like a charm, and I get a bit of good luck thrown in for effect. Belly Drum versus Numel, though we do get hit with takedown. Then we strength our way through the fight, downing Numel, Slugma and Camerupt in pretty short order before we face the Torkoal. And when we go for strength, we get a crit to give us the victory. That's 4 badges down. Next up is the normal gym, and this one shouldn't be an issue. I say that with a great deal of confidence. In reality, I think we'll hit hard but get outsped by at least Vigoroth and Slacking and get hit just as hard in exchange. Anyway, I put both Bulk Up and Rock Tomb on Pork before the fight, figuring Belly has Belly Drum so Pork can have Bulk Up. Spinder has confusion tactics with Teeter Dance, so I karate chop it down with the first hit. Vigoroth is faster, as expected, and hits us with 2 slashes, while I bulk up and down it with a karate chop. I go for another bulk up versus Linoon, and we get hit with 2 more slashes before downing it with a 3rd karate chop. Versus Slacking, we do outspeed, and I am surprised by that until I remember that it knows counter, and that move is probably coming our way. Thankfully though, our karate chop knocks it down for the count and we one-hit it. That is a relief. The next major fight, if it can indeed be called that, is the May one just outside the Weather Institute, and I'm continuing to level both Pokemon up, utilising the experience share. The next gym is the Flying one, and that one has the potential to be rough. May begins with Pelipper, and because I know what Pelipper tend to do in this game, I go for bulk up, while she protects against an attack that never comes. Pork then downs Pelipper with Return. Combusken is also one hit with Return, which is good. Lombre is next. It hits Fake Out and Swift, both of which we brush off before that also goes down to Return. Well, that was quick. Winona might be brutal. She has some troublesome Pokemon that can hit us for super effective damage. I do need to be careful here. Anyway, the fight starts about as well as it can when I go for 2 bulk ups versus Swablu, and we get hit with 2 aerial aces. One of them being a crit, which contributes to us falling into yellow health. I down it with Return. Skarmory is a 2-hit with Karate Chop, but it hits us with Sand Attack, which isn't good. At least one of her more dangerous Pokemon is down. Thanks to that Sand Attack, we miss Return on Tropius and it begins to charge up Solar Beam, but we hit at the second attempt to down it. I go for another bulk up on Pelipper because I think Protect is coming. We are weak, but I'd hate myself forever if I got caught out. She protects, we down it on the next turn with Return. Altaria is last, and it goes for Dragon Dance. Accuracy, don't fail me now. Thankfully, our Return lands, and we down it hard. Great job, Pork. I get to Lily Cove City, and there's an optional May fight, which I get out of the way, because I want to go dump some stuff in the department store. She begins with Tropius, and I get a bulk up going on Pork, while she only goes for Sweet Scent. It backfires on her when we down it with Return. Combusken also goes down to a single hit, a Karate Chop, before Pelipper is next. Because I know it's going to protect, I bulk up again and then go for Return. However, she's outfought me, she's gone for a double protect and it fails. The chances of her going for it 3 times in a row though are slim, and our next Return downs it before we do the same to Ludicolo. Story stuff now as I go to clear out the Magma and Aqua hideouts. I'll need to get levels for sure because the Psychic Gym is after, and that might well be a horrible experience. I make sure I fight all the grunts and head around to the Maxi fight, which could turn out to be unpleasant. This fight goes all manner of badly. We go for a bulk up versus Mightyena to negate the Intimidate, but then it goes for Swagger. We hit ourselves twice in confusion for big damage before we take it out, and thanks to it also using Scary Face on us, we can't outspeed Crobat. Fair where fair's due, I don't think we outspeed Crobat anyway, but we go down to Air Cutter, so it's moot. Belly comes out, and despite being 15 levels higher, gets 2 hits with Wing Attack. Well, that was tragic. Maybe going for Fake Out was a mistake. Fear not, for I have a pretty cunning plan. So I have an item in my bag that could be useful, but I wish I had more of them. It's a choice between the Persian Berry to heal confusion or the Lax Incense to make the Swagger miss full stop. Let's try the latter first. Strangely though, Mightyena never goes for Swagger or Scary Face this time. Just hits a takedown when we bulk up and we down it quickly with our Karate. Crobat is next. I was right, it does outspeed and hits a super effective move that we have to tank. I land a few returns and he heals. I time it that I get another bulk up going when I think he's about to heal once again. And though he does land a wing attack, we shake it off and take the Crobat down. Camerupt is a one hit with return, so that's pretty sweet. Next up, we have to do some more traversing around the region, but it's not long before we have the next major fight. and unfortunately, it is the Psychic Gym. Now this is, always traditionally, a horrible encounter, as we have to double battle Tate and Liza. We have one more Pokemon than we normally do, but given they are both weak to Psychic types, it's not bright. I'll try this in the mid-50s, level-wise, and see how we do, but I'm not confident. And I'm right to be. We go for Xatu first, hitting it with Fake Out and a crit return to down it, but Claydol is faster and hits us for decent damage with Earthquake. Lunatone is out next to replace the Xatu, and both it and Claydol unleash psychic attacks on Pork and Belly, and the fight is very quickly over. Not good. So, I guess I go and grind then. While I am grinding then, this seems as good a time as any to talk about what's ongoing with the channel. Ever noticed that a lot of the time I do this talk in similar spots? Not always, but frequently. In Kanto games, it'll be in Sylph. In Johto games, it usually might be the Rocket Hideout or the Radio Tower bit. In Hoenn, it's either Victory Road or grinding for the Psychic Gym. Patterns, huh? Anyway, in the week just gone, there were 4 episodes of the playthrough of Pokemon Violet, episodes 6 through 9. Good news, I think I've got the sound issue sorted out when playing on the Switch, so I'm pretty pleased about that. Hopefully, no more echoes or quiet voiceover work. I am loving that game so far. I mean, I know they've taken a bit of flack in some quarters, but I think there's a lot of positives there for the franchise. I'm having some trouble settling on a consistent team, but I do seem to be rotating a lot at the moment. There is still a few Pokemon that I wouldn't mind using. There was also episode 7 of the Skyward Sword playthrough and episode 17 of the Resident Evil Revelations 2 playthrough. It's the first time in a while that I haven't had to mention Fable Anniversary, given that was finished the week before last, aside from that mention I just made. I'm probably going to stick to 5 Pokemon uploads a week for the time being, 4 for Violet and the weekly challenge, plus the Skyward Sword and Resident Evil ones. I mean, I've got the final episode of Revelations 2 to go up next week, then it's time to start uploading one of my personal favourites in the franchise, with the RE1 remake. I haven't played any of that in the last week or so, due to a reason that rhymes with Smokemon Spilot, but I'm probably about halfway through and have about half a dozen episodes ready to go. Next week's challenge, since this is probably the one you're interested in most, will be Pokemon Fire Red with a single Phanpy. And the week after will be Christmas Eve and Pokemon Silver with a single Stantler. New Year's Eve is still up for debate. If you have any ideas, I'd love to hear them because I'm plumb out of anything solid. If you do have any ideas for challenges, head to the comments section below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Also down there, if you want to support the channel, there's a link to my Patreon where you can get shout outs and more. If you can't support the channel in that way, the fact that you're here and watching is more than enough for me. But please, hit that like button, drop a comment if you can, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. It really, really does make a difference. I try again with Pork at level 62 and Belly at level 60. Hopefully, we can outspeed now. That would make things simple. Unfortunately, it's not to be. We're still outsped by all their Pokemon. We can tank Earthquake a bit better, but if we are constantly getting wailed on, it's not much good. We take the Xatu down, but between Claydol and Lunatone, they do in Belly with an Earthquake and a Psychic combo very quickly. Pork does hit Lunatone with a Karate Chop, but it doesn't come close to knocking it out. Maybe with a crit? I don't know. Grind board then again. Third attempt, and Pork is at level 68. I'm hoping this makes a difference. We're still not faster. This time, I bulk up with Pork. That sounds like an exercise video. And that boost is enough to one-hit Claydol. Unfortunately, the Xatu is left alive and it ends both Belly and Pork with Psychic attacks. Drat. Fourth attempt. Pork is level 71. I'm not saying I've given up on Belly at this point, but I think Pork is a better bet for this fight. This time does go a lot better. We bulk up with Pork, while Belly hits Xatu with Fake Out. Pork is faster now, and we get the bulk up going before Claydol can Earthquake us. Xatu downs Belly on the next turn with Psychic, but we take it out with Return in retaliation. Lunatone is a single hit with Karate Chop, which is massive. All the while, Claydol insists on earthquaking us, which I will take all day long. Pork has the shell bell on, so we are recovering health very slowly. Solrock is a 2-hit with Karate Chop, the citrus berry, taking it out of healing range, and even better, it only goes for Sunny Day rather than doing the novel thing of actually attacking us, before finally we down the Claydol with Return to give us the 7th badge. The next major fight is the Archie one in the Undersea Cavern, and I decide that after teaching Belly Earthquake, I'm going to give him another chance to shine. So Mighty Hina swaggers Belly, and we never get the chance to throw a punch, even if the punch in question would have been at the ground. We hit ourselves 3 times in confusion, and in conjunction with the takedowns, Belly gets beaten badly. That was unimpressive. Pork comes in and Karate Chops Mighty Hina down before Crobat confuses us. It survives a return, and so I try to get a bulk up going so that we can overpower its defences. We hit ourselves once or twice, it hits a wing attack, but we do manage to get the knockout very eventually. Sharpedo, at the end, goes down to a single Karate Chop, and we're done. Time to move on. After more story stuff, it is time for the final gym, and given that it's a water gym, we should be good here, I guess. It's not like we have any sort of crippling weakness to that type. I taught Pork Brick Break in the interim so that we have a better fighting move than Karate Chop. That should be our final movesets now. I think here we should be pretty golden. Of course, this does end badly though. Love Disc is a pain, thanks to it constantly hitting Sweet Kiss and Attract. I lose so many turns when Pork becomes infatuated. It's something like 6 in a row, and I'm getting sick of that. First Flannery, and now this idiot. Eventually, we hit a Brick Break and wreck it, but my patience is hanging by a thread. Whiskash is next, and we're still confused and hit ourselves before we get the chance to take it out. We're weakened thanks to a water pulse that it hit us with. Kingdra is next, it spams double team, and we never hit it out of like 2 or 3 attempts, and we very quickly go down. Belly comes in, we try to hit it, but it spams more double teams, so I go for Belly Drum and we wreck it with a strength that comes out of the blue and lands a surprise hit. We are weak though, but we do manage to outspeed Celio to wreck it with Reversal. Crawdont at the last should be an easy win, but for the fact that it's faster and we duly go down when it lands Crab Hammer. That was a painfully infuriating way to lose. I do go and grind a little more. We have a decent spot to do so now, thanks to the Sky Pillar being open. But eventually, I try again. This time goes okay up until we get to Kingdra, because this time Pork gets frozen and doesn't defrost, while it bangs up 6 double teams and lays into us with Ice Beam attacks, wearing down all our health. We eventually do defrost, but it is too late to do anything about it. That was pretty unlucky. Let's try that again. This time, I go for a different tactic. I don't bother with the bulk up versus Love Disc. I just try and wreck it as fast as I can with Brick Break. We do get hit with Sweet Kiss because apparently that move is incapable of missing, but we fight through confusion and shake it off in the first turn versus Whiskash. We bulk up twice and tank an Earthquake while it also goes for Rain Dance. We then Brick Break it down. Kingdra is next, it is still faster, and this time we hit through the double team to beat it down hard with Brick Break. Celio is a 1-hit with Brick Break before Crawdont is last and also goes down to a super effective Brick Break too, meaning that we can win the 8th badge and head towards Victory Road. I hate this Victory Road, just for the record. Before I can lament too much, we have to fight Wally. He's at the start of Victory Road in Emerald, rather than at the end, like he is in both Ruby and Sapphire and the remakes. I wonder why they changed it. Oh well, we bulk up versus Altaria, who goes to Safeguard before we down it with Return. I don't trust Rock Tomb. Gardevoir is next and chooses to go for Future Sight rather than attacking, but we down it with Return. Delcatty is third and gets crushed by Brick Break before Magneton is next and goes down the same way. Roselia is last. We shrug off the future sight and wreck it with Return. Hard luck, Wally. It's not too long after that we arrive at Evergrande City, and here are our stats as we stand in the entrance hall of the Pokemon League. I have mixed feelings about how this might go. Pork has decent stats. Belly does not. That said though, I do have a plan for the use of Belly. I'm not sure how it'll work in practice, but it might do a job. Anyone wanting to take guesses on if I can do it at this level or not, comment away now. Dark Trainer Sydney is up first, and in theory, this shouldn't be that bad I guess, since I have two fighting types. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a sting in the tail somewhere though in this fight. This nearly gets messy towards the middle. We beat the mighty Ina down with Brick Break before it can start sand attacking. I go for a bulk up on the Shiftry to get the attack power back, but unfortunately it hits Swagger and starts using double team. We hit ourselves in confusion as well as getting tagged by Torment, but ultimately we take it down before things get too bad. Absol is next and hits Aerial Ace, but we down it with Return before Brick Break takes down the Cacturn. Thanks to Torment, we have to then use Return to defeat the Crawdont, but it's no problem. One down. Now Phoebe. This is going to be horrific, I can tell. I have a plan though. Dusclops likes to use Protect first turn, and it might be the only thing in the Elite Four that Belly actually does outspeed. So I put the Shell Bell on and prepare to see exactly what Belly can do. We Belly Drum when the Dusclops goes to Protect to max out our attack, and then we hit it with Earthquake. Unfortunately, we're not faster than Bayonet though, and get hit by a Psychic attack, which we survive on a Sliver before knocking it out with Earthquake. Unsurprisingly, we can't outspeed the second Bayonet and go down to Shadow Ball. Pork comes in, and given Bayonet goes for Shadow Balls, I bulk up a few times before downing it with Rock Tomb, though we do get burned by Will-O-Wisp. Then comes Sableye, and the first Rock Tomb misses, naturally. That does cost me the match, as Sableye spams double team, and eventually the burn damage takes us out. Well, that was a pretty bad way to lose. This is why I hate Rock Tomb as a move, but it was the best option I had. Let us try that again. We surely can't be as unlucky again, can we? Well, once again, the accuracy of Rock Tomb screws us, as we can't quite one-hit the final Dusclops, and then, when we do have a chance for a killing blow, Rock Tomb, guess what? Misses. Dusclops finishes us off with Ice Beam, and the burn damage ends us. I'm thinking of grinding another few levels. I try again after a bit more grinding in Victory Road. This time does go better, I will say. We take down Dusclops number 1 and Bayonet number 1 in the same way. Belly Drum while they protect, and then Earthquake, my way to victory over both of them. Though the second Bayonet does prove too much, even though we do have a decent chunk of health left. With Pork, I go for 3 bulk ups this time, since 2 weren't enough the last time, even with the Guts boost while burned. When the strategy is that I need Rock Tomb to land 3 times in a row, that's when you know that I'm hoping a bit too hard. This is why I was getting annoyed about Sweet Kiss earlier, because Rock Tomb is 80 accuracy and misses every other turn when I'm using it. Sweet Kiss is 75 and hit every time because it was being used on me. Glacier is next. Not an issue. I'm feeling that confident that I even leave Pork burned going into the fight, just for the Guts boost. That might genuinely be a strategy going forward. It stops other status afflictions after all. Well, everything barring confusion and attraction, which might yet be an issue. Celio goes down to Brick Break. Glalie number 1 is faster and Ice Beams us, but we Brick Break it. Celio number 2 goes down to Brick Break. Glalie number 2 puts the hail up and then gets beaten down by Brick Break. Walrein lands Surf, and I am worried for a moment, but we survive it and take it out with Brick Break. Whew! Drake then. Well, I'm not going to lie, I am worried about this. I'm going to try the belly drum strategy again versus Shelgon because it likes to spam first turn protect a lot. I think we are going to get outsped by his entire team apart from Shelgon, but we might get lucky. Okay, so fun fact, Belly is that slow that we are getting outsped by a Shelgon. It protects twice in a row, then hits double edge. We wipe it out with Earthquake, but the damage is done. Pork does manage to take down Altaria, but even with the damage boost from Guts, we're not strong enough to one-hit Kingdra, who lands Smokescreen, and that's all she wrote. I wonder, I am burned. Maybe I should replace Return with Facade. That might do something. I'll try this. 140 base power, plus 50% Guts boost with a pretty decent physical attack stat. What have I got to lose? I even had a bulk up to it when Shelgon goes to protect. Second turn, we crash Shelgon out with Facade. Altaria goes for a Dragon Dance, we take it out with Facade. Kingdra hits us with Smokescreen, but we are on a rampage and Facade wrecks it. Flygon hits Earthquake, we tank it and down it with Facade. Salamence is last and it intimidates us. Now I'm worried. It might be able to do big damage to us and our attack is lowered. It hits a Dragon Claw, but we survive and smash into it with Facade for a one-hit KO that I wasn't expecting. Well, that was simple. Wallace then. Can that same strategy work twice? Well, I'm certainly hoping so. Wailord is faster and goes for Rain Dance, even though we do down it hard with Facade. I go for a bulk up versus Whiscash and it hits a rain-backed Surf for big damage, though we do take it out very quickly after. It's easy for Tentacruel to come in and end us with Hydro Pump. Belly does about as much as he has for the rest of the run versus Tentacruel, failing to knock it out with Earthquake after barely surviving Hydro Pump. You might be able to guess we don't win that attempt. I have 5 rare candies and I make the choice to throw them on Pork to see if it gives us a speed advantage going into the final battle. When our health is being constantly sapped, I need whatever help I can get. So the issue I have is Gyarados. It is faster and we can't one-hit it without a crit when it lowers our attack with Intimidate. We wear through 5 of Wallace's Pokemon, being faster than Wailord and able to one-hit it. Ditto Whiscash. Tentacruel is still faster and hits Hydro Pump. There's that questionable accuracy of moves once again, even though we do take it out. We are faster than Ludicolo and one-hit it. Gyarados is faster than us though and hits Earthquake, which we do tank. With the Intimidate though, we just failed to knock it out, prompting a heal, which is another turn of burn damage. We get the crit on the second turn, but it is not enough. Milotic knocks us out with Surf, and for a moment I figure Belly might be about to get some redemption. But even with Guts being activated by Toxic, even with our health lowered by Surf and Poison, Reversal does the absolute square root of nothing and we quickly go down. Let me try this again. I make a few more tries and I eventually work out that I need an exact confluence of events to go my way. And eventually I get this run. We bulk up versus Wailord, who goes to Rain Dance. That is fortunate. Anyway, when we knock it out with Facade, the blow heals our burn damage from the first turn because Wailord has that much health. I go for another bulk up versus Whiscash, who goes for Amnesia, and we down it with Facade. Then it's Tentacruel, and the most important thing of them all happens when it misses Hydro Pump, because that is singularly massive. We down it with Facade. Also, what is lucky is that Wailord's Rain also stops as Ludicolo comes out, and that is also huge because I am pretty sure it has Swift Swim as an ability, and we take it out with Facade. Gyarados hits Surf, which isn't helpful, but it isn't a special attacker, so that could have been worse, and we down it with Facade. Milotic also hits Surf, but we survive it, much to my jubilation, and then we hit our Facade to knock it out and beat Wallace, entering the Hall of Fame and winning the run. The sense of relief that passes through me is palpable. I was wondering if we could do it, and the fact that we did, joy! So, that was interesting. I'm aware of the irony that it was supposed to be Machop and Makuhita, but it was pretty much Machop with the occasional help from Makuhita. It is what it is. I don't know why team runs in Emerald always feel so much worse than solo ones, or even team runs in other games. Actually, I do have an idea. Solo ones, you can devote all the levels to one Pokemon. Here, you have to split the experience and you end up caught between two stools. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like, leave a comment and smash that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. It helps the channel grow. If you have any ideas for future challenges, as Javier Montserrat did with this one, then head to said comment section or follow the links to my Twitter or my Discord. If you wish to support the channel, then there's also a link to my Patreon below. Join me again next week for another Pokemon challenge as we head through Kanto and see if I can beat Pokemon Fire Red with a single Phanpy. That one's sure to be fun, said with a certain degree of trepidation. Don't forget as well to throw any ideas for a New Year's Eve challenge out. I have a bit of an idea at the moment, just in case nothing better comes along. Same goes for any interesting ideas for challenge number 75, which is scheduled for February. Also, if you haven't done so, remember I'm playing Pokemon Violet on this channel too, and there'll be more episodes coming in the week. So, what's going on with me then? Well, I got a new sort of semi-relationship ongoing with someone who works at the same place as me. That's going well so far, so I can't complain about that. Next week, I'm going to a Christmas market with her. Going into a city centre the weekend before Christmas. That's pretty brave. So yeah, I feel like I'm in a pretty good place emotion-wise right now, and that's something. There's been enough false starts this year for me, so I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. Anyway, I'm signing off now. This has been Once and Future Gamer. This has been Pokemon Emerald with a Machop and occasionally a Makuhita. We're done. I'm going. Take care of yourselves. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye now. So long.